This new generation of athletes is different. They require everything on video so that they can showcase it with all of their friends, especially on social media. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I use the Yolobox Extreme to live stream and record my nephew's sporting events. In full disclosure, YOLO Live did send me over this Yolobox Extreme, and they've also sent me over some of their previous YOLO boxes as well. Now I'm going to link to this, all the equipment that I used in the video, and some of the other YOLO box options that you can explore if you want to recreate a similar setup. Now, I want to kind of walk you through the backstory because I think context is key for this particular setup. But if you want to skip ahead, you're more than welcome to go right into the setup phase. Now, for this particular football game, it happens pretty quickly in the day, like 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so there's not a lot of time for me to leave work and actually get this set up. Now, fortunately for this particular day, it was a home game, so it was literally right around the corner from here. So I didn't need much setup time, which I think is very important when you want to record or live stream. How fast can you actually get things set up before kickoff? So with 30 minutes to spare, what I wanted to do was initially record the setup while I was actually at the game, but I really just had to focus on getting everything set up, because when you're setting up equipment, you always get a lot of people that are looking at you to try to figure out what you're actually doing. And so in this case, it was no different. Had some people that were interested in the actual equipment that I was using to set up for this live stream, because they were parents and they want to live stream and capture events for their kids as well. They don't want to rely on a cell phone because you actually may want to use that cell phone in a game for a phone call, need to check some emails, and quite frankly, the cell phone does not give you the visibility or the audio link that you need to actually capture high quality video. This new generation, they want quality video so that they can share it with their friends, put it on social media, and if they're a really good athlete, that's going to be content that they can use to promote for different colleges that they may want to attend. Not to mention the legacy factor. I would love to have gone back and seen some of the content that was created, if there was any, but the technology these days allows us to create content, live streams, and recorded videos that's higher quality so that our kids now can actually view this content and these videos later when they become adults as well. Now, this particular football game, the goal wasn't to create a massive broadcast. It was simply just to record the content. Now, the area of this particular football game has very bad internet coverage. So live streaming from this location really isn't an option for me. So we're not going to talk about that in this video. We're just going to focus on the recorded element. And I think that's what most people are going to be actually doing anyway. It's just recording the video games, not so much worried about the live stream. Now, if it's a championship game, that's a little bit different, where you may want to live stream to people that can't attend there in person. Now, for this, we just use the recording feature on the Yolobox Extreme. It does have a separate live stream option or a monitor option, and we just use the monitor option, simply hitting the record button and then letting everything take place from there. Now, in all honesty, I was a little scared when I got home, because when I pulled out the SD card that you can put in this device, I loaded it in my computer thinking I was going to upload the footage on YouTube, and to my surprise, there was nothing on the SD card. But the Yolobox Extreme has internal recording, and so today, which is the next morning after the game, I actually looked at the Yolobox Extreme internal recordings, and all my footage was stored there. So that's just to let you know that you don't even need an external SD card. You can record directly internally on this device. For this game, being that it's sports, I want higher quality and faster frame rates, so I did record at 4K and 60 frames per second. This allowed me to capture the entire game internally on this device, and because the Yolobox Extreme has an extremely long battery life, I believe over 6 hours, I had no problem recording all the footage. Once I turned on the Yolobox, I never turned it off through the entire football game. And by the time I actually got back home and reviewed the footage and had to get it off the external drive, I still had over 70% of life available. Now, in the B-roll, it's a little bit less because I was doing some other things before I captured the B-roll, but the power in this device is powerful and it will last a long time. Because it's portable, that's why I prefer to use this versus a big complicated setup for a quick live stream or recording. So now that you know that this is the brains of the entire operation, let me walk you through the actual setup of the rest of the equipment needed to pull off this recording. Because this is our home field, I know the stadium area pretty well. Now, unfortunately, the fans of the opposing team and our team actually have to sit on the same side because there's only one set of bleachers. And so that's where I actually set up. Now, we don't have access to the press box. So what I do is I bring a small little 4-foot table with me, and that way I can have everything just laid out because I want to be able to have a little bit more control. And sometimes I just want to sit down and maybe have a snack, maybe have a drink with me and not just have everything on the ground. So a little 4-foot table is great because that's all the space I really need. It allows me to put my portable power station on the desk. Now, this power station is a Blue Yeti power station that actually lasts a long time as well because I don't have a lot of power being drained from it. Taking it out to the field, I always make sure it's 100%. And by the time I got it back home, I still had over 70% power left on that as well. The ability to have power and the ability to have it long enough for an event is really crucial. Now, along with the power station itself, I do bring a surge protector just to have a few extra outlets. One of the devices plugged into the power was my PTZ camera. For this setup, I use the BZB Gear 25X PTZ camera that's 4K compatible, which I like because the Yolobox Extreme is capable of 4K inputs. So having one single cable, an HDMI cable from the back of the PTZ camera plugged directly into the Yolobox Extreme, I had everything I needed to bring the video into this device. That's all you really need for a simple setup. But if you want more cameras, you definitely have more space with the Extreme. Now, in order to capture the audio, because I definitely want to hear the collisions, I definitely want to hear the crowd noise, and in this case, we also heard a lot of the cheerleaders. I used my Shure VP83F shotgun microphone. This was done by a simple connection, a 3.5 millimeter connection from the microphone into the back of the PTZ camera. So this eliminated an extra long cable that I may have traditionally used to bring into a device like this. Because HDMI can actually bring in video and audio, that single HDMI cable that we used from the PTZ camera connected to the Yolobox Extreme brought in audio into the unit. So I could monitor the video and I can go to the audio tab in the Extreme and manage the audio settings as well. So if I got a little bit too loud or a little too low, I could make that adjustments right here in the device. Now, I like to use headphones. So on the bottom side of the Yolobox Extreme, I do have my Shure headphones connected directly to it. So that way I can monitor the audio. Now, this particular day was very windy, especially at the beginning of the game, but because I'm able to use a real microphone, I'm still able to capture a lot of the sound and I can get a lot of that wind noise out in post-production. The camera and the microphone were both mounted on a small bracket, which was then mounted on my Robe tripod. Now, the Robe tripod is my favorite one to use, especially when I'm outdoors. Because it's so high, I can get above all the crowd. I don't have to worry about people walking in my camera shot. I don't have to worry about anybody coming real close to me because it's a nice, sturdy tripod that I can just kind of be in the back of the area. So just like in this case, I was in the back of the stadium and the tripod being so high and the PTZ camera having such a long distance zoom, I could just be away from everybody and I could actually enjoy the game while recording it. Because I'm using a PTZ camera, a camera that has the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom, I like to use the pan, the tilt, and the zoom. And so in order to do that, I'm using a Tenevo PTZ camera controller. Now, these PTZ cameras allow you to control them with a remote control, which is great, which is something I take with me when I do these types of events because every so often I do need to go into the camera menu settings. This game was no different because I had to go in and change for outdoor exposure. Initially setting up the camera, it was way too bright, so I had to close down the iris and bring down some of the brightness so that I could actually have a decent looking picture. Making these settings with the remote controller is the easiest way to do it. But when you're in live game action, trying to pan, tilt, and zoom with a remote controller is a little tedious. It may not even be possible because in order to get the signal from the remote to the camera, you need to be in front of the camera with the remote pointed to it. If you're standing behind your camera and trying to point your remote up to it, you're probably not going to be able to make those different setting changes, and you're definitely not going to be able to easily pan, tilt, and zoom your camera to keep up with the action. Having a dedicated PTZ controller makes things so much easier when actually controlling the camera. All I have to do is connect one cable, a serial cable, from the controller to the PTZ camera, and I can control the camera left, right, up, down, zoom in, zoom out, and it's pretty seamless, especially if you have good camera movement techniques. You're not going to be jerking off fast or going up and down and just missing shots completely. A controller just makes things so much easier. Ask your kids, especially if they have video games. Using a controller with a joystick and the ability to have that 360 range of motion is just so much easier than using a standard left down upright control. Now, for the most part, I don't go all out on production unless it's a paid type of event, but there are a lot of things you can do on the Yolobox Extreme, especially if it's related to sports. So for this setup, I also use the scoreboard function. Now, because I'm familiar with the game of football and familiar with the scoring system, it was pretty easy to keep up with the actual score of the game and how scoring is done. So what I did was use the scoreboard controller to put in the home team and put in the away team in the scoreboard, and I could even color code to match. So the Jaguars in this case was the away team, and the Bulldogs, the dark blue team, was the actual home team. Now this was a tough game because we actually lost 18-0, but having a visual on screen does help with that person that may not be familiar with the scoring system of the sport and they want to support. Or maybe you are actually live streaming and you want the audience to know what the score is in real time. You can even change between the first half and the second half just by simply going in the navigation section of the scoreboard feature, and pretty easy just touching and putting in the updates. That's one of the things I really love about the Yolobox Extreme. It's touch-based, so I can just touch the screen and make any of the changes. I can touch the screen and navigate between different settings all within this one device. Now, even though we didn't win this game, my nephew's going to love the fact that he actually had some good plays in this game. A couple of breakout runs that almost led to touchdowns, a pancake block that was crazy, and even the coaches can appreciate this as well if you have that relationship with them, if they want to replay footage of the game so that they can see what went wrong and what went right. So if you're looking for a way to live stream that's simple and have that high quality recorded footage that can last over the years, this is definitely the device to check out. I'll link to it in the description along with some of the smaller versions of this unit as well. Because maybe you are only going to use one or two cameras, this device will help you get the job done very easily.